Hello everybody, we've got a Mercedes E-Class here today. It is, if you call it right, a pseudo-AMG. The E43 AMG. As you understand, this is the initial stage in the AMG series. And so initial, that even on the engine cover there is no logo of this studio AMG. But there is also no signature of the person who assembled this motor. You understand, to expand the line of sold goods, Mercedes will not think of anything. And a lot of these pseudo-AMGs have been sold. Actually, maybe there's a bit of an upside to that. In the sense that you seem to have a typical production car, but at the same time, it is somehow different. And at the same time, you have not overpaid a lot of money, because in principle, AMG has always been expensive, but here it is made for a person not to overpay, but to have something to do with AMG. But here, look, yes, I'm starting with the most obvious one. You see the headlights, look at how much they're in such a not-so-conditioned state. Anyway, the idea behind this video is this. Either Mercedes is no longer the same and is making poor quality stuff that wears out very quickly. Or the owner of the car simply does not look after it very much. And there is another point. How much he doesn't look after it. That's one. And then, there's the question. What's the mileage on this car? You can place your bets by the end of the video. I'm going to show you the mileage on this car to check myself and not talk too much. But just to be honest, if you watch it like this, without rewinding, you can bet on what the mileage will be at the end of this video. But I'm showing you all the amazing things about this Mercedes. But you can see, yes, I mean, he did like to collect insects. It's not a question of the Mercedes, it's a question of where he rode. But nevertheless, you can see that the condition of the car is not that of a new car. There's a Mercedes inscription right there, and then there's the headlight configuration. You can't see it at all, that inscription. And about the 43 AMG. As I understand it, Mercedes has abandoned that idea. Either it should or it already has. There won't be any CLAs. And these little Mercedes, with the abbreviation 45, I don't know about 43. It will probably be out of circulation too, apparently. Still, it is probably more expedient to sell something with a big letter AMG there, 63 or something like that, and immediately make a normal amount of money than to sell a lot of these small cars. Well, the E-car, again, is not the smallest car, it's a middle-class car after all. But nevertheless, it seems to me that this story about 43 AMG, 45 AMG, well, somehow it is very much drawn by ears. But I think that everything is simple. Germans decided, as they decided, so they did it. In the end, they just made money. That's all. Everything is quite prosaic. Moreover, if earlier I could fall for some, in general, such moments that, I don't know, the theme turned out that way, or they didn't want it that way. No. The Germans have become very prosaic about their products. They're just robbing you and me. By overpricing their products. It's not worth it, that's for sure. I've never been a fan of Asian cars. I mean, in the context of Japanese and Korean cars, but now if you compare a Mercedes, some Toyota Camry, frankly, the only difference would be the looks. In trim, you realize that plus or minus everything is taken somewhere in the same place. Plus or minus maybe some different seams. Everything else. Lexus also stinks of plastic, and in principle it also stinks in Mercedes. Honestly, I haven't driven any new Mercedes in a long time. Well, again, we will not take S-Class in this topic, which, again, it is exorbitantly expensive. But there, of course, there are no such nuances as some strange odors with plastic. But, nevertheless, if to take in mass all production of the same Mercedes, you understand that it is well, far from perfect car has become, although earlier it was a brand that symbolized stability, good quality. It was a respected brand. Now it's more about making money or ripping off customers. But so is BMW. Of all this German gang, I think VAG has more or less remained somehow true to its traditions. But both Volkswagen and Audi may be a little bit behind in terms of design. But, again, from what side to look from the same Mercedes and BMW, in terms of quality and the quality of materials in general, it seems to me that VAX is still holding on. But again, there is a suspicion that it is all on its last breath. Well, let's pass to the most interesting thing, to a saloon. Well, this is purebred eco-leather right here. Now we're going to have the driver's seat. To me on appearance, if not to look at all silliness as pedals, but in this particular case, it looks very much like a mileage of about 200,000. Very much so. 300 I think is a bit much. That's a bit much, but somewhere around 180. Up to 200. And if we look at the steering wheel is right in the mirror all the way through. It's probably beautiful, but personally, I don't like it. I'm laughing, of course. This is not how a steering wheel should be. The story is for people who try to determine the mileage on the car by video. Completely stupid, but nevertheless, there are such characters in the Russian space of the internet. Specially showed the pedals. As you can see, they are simply metal, so it's impossible to see anything there. Well, and the puffy parts of them. I do not know what it is necessary to do to destroy them in an AMG brace or in an AMG car, but it is unrealistic. But as you can see, the interior is so straight up. Well, houndstooth, right? Well, and at the end of the video, which in fact is not far off, I will show you, after all, what really is the mileage of this Mercedes. Well, at the same time, by the way, let's have a look at the key. Again, the condition of the key doesn't tell you anything either, but it does. So if you see something similar to this kind of content, where smart people say that we will tell you everything about pedals, keys, but this is a complete nonsense. The whole question is how it was stored and how it was used. Well, let's not bore you. Turning on the dashboard. And we're going to look at the mileage on this beautiful Mercedes. As you can see, the mileage is 80,000 kilometers. Yes, 80,000 kilometers, not 180, 80. What's interesting is it's a one-owner car. So to summarize the above, the question for you. In general, it may even be rhetorical what is happening to Mercedes now. Either such a total, just a general drop in quality, is so high that at 8,000 kilometers it has worn out so much, but either it was somehow ruthlessly exploited. But I believe that at 8,000 kilometers is the issue and the quality of the Mercedes. And that's it